Hey guys, welcome to the next, or the current, the here and now DAC Talk, Dave and Charissa Talk, and today we're talking about something that I think a lot of people are going to have interest in because a lot of people, if not, everyone has a social media account, and then a lot of people have products or services that they try to sell, be it for their actual business or just trying to make money on the side. And so how do those two things work together? How do those two things come together and you sell via social without sounding like a salesman and you're just pushing things? So that's what we're talking about tonight. Charissa, you are back from Hawaii. How you doing?
I am here. I am tan. I am happy to talk about not being a cheese ball when you're selling online.
Because it's so easy to do, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I work with clients all the time that ask me like, "Hey, will you look at this?" And I look at it and it makes me feel like slimy, and I'm like, "Oh, honey, let's not do
Yeah.
that."
Well, so one of the things that I see a lot of times Jeff Walker calls it hope marketing, where someone will have something that they want to sell, something that they like, something that they enjoy or use, and so what they'll do is they'll just take a picture of it and they'll throw it on social and they'll just say, hey, ask me about this product. And I think there's some times where that sort of thing could work, but it's within the context of a much bigger strategy and a much bigger thought process, campaign, whatever you want to call it, and that's part of an overall strategy. So before we get too far into it tonight, if you want to interact with us, you can use the hashtag right there. Hashtag DAC Talk, and Charissa and I are going to be on Twitter. So if you have questions or if you have thoughts or you want to chime in and share your thought on a particular subject or what we're talking about, go ahead, use that hashtag, and then right here on mine you can see my Twitter name is right there. And Charissa, where's yours?
Mine is right here. My first name is a little bit tricky to spell. There's an H in it because my parents are awesome. So if you need to know how to spell it, right here.
Very good. So if you want to interact with us, just use the hashtag or tag one of us with our usernames, and you can log in. So Charissa, the first thing that I want to kind of talk about is what are some of the biggest mistakes people use social for when they're trying to sell? Like, have you seen things like I kind of mentioned one right there? Have you seen things that people typically wind up doing, and you look at that and you're just like, don't play that note because that's a sour note every time.
Oh my gosh, yeah, all the time. Like the most forefront of my mind. We'll just go off the top of my head because I never prepare notes for this. I just like flying off the seat of my pants. So I do. I never take notes. I never prep. Like I just love showing up, being here, serving. It's fun. So off the top of my head, I see a lot of people on Twitter that copy and paste the same tweet and just switch the username. So like, hey, at Dave Shrine, check out my water bottle. Hey, at Miss Chris and Moore, check out my water bottle, link. Hey, Iceland fans, check out my water bottle, link. Like, yeah, can we not do that? That's just, it feels slimy. And then when people look at your feed, all they're going to see is the same tweet over and over. And guess what? That makes your customer feel like they're a pawn. And that's gross because nobody wants to feel like that. My whole thing in business, in life, in every aspect of who I am is relationship. And so whether you're watching this for the first time or you're watching with us live or you're going through our videos on YouTube, my whole thing will always be based on a relationship. So if you don't have a relationship with someone and you're just trying to hard sell them, yeah, sometimes will that work? Sure, absolutely. Most of the time will it work? No. My whole thing is create a relationship with someone first before you're going to try to sell to them. So if I have someone reach out to me, I've never talked to them, there's no track record, I have no idea who they are, and I look at their feed, and their feed is 2,000 tweets of, hey, blank, check out my blank link. Nah, let's not do that.
That's kind of the antithesis of social, and that's my whole thing. Like I've heard Gary Vaynerchuk say, people who start trying to use autoresponders and start using social to sell, they're trying to scale something that isn't scalable. Social is not meant to be scaled. And when you start copying and pasting because it's easier for you, or when you start just using the same stuff over and over because it's easier for you and it just helps you kind of just get it out there, you're trying to scale something that isn't scalable. Social is meant to be social, relational. And so that is definitely one of the things that I see people make mistakes. Another thing that I see people doing, and I'm probably guilty of this too. I'm in the middle right now of trying to sell my first online product, and I'm figuring it out how it goes. And I've been telling people, as people have been asking how's it going. I said, man, it's like you can see these things in other people. You can see the speck of dust in somebody else's eye, but when you've got this massive plank just like coming out of yours, it's so hard to see what you're doing. And so one of the things that I see is that people won't share the context of their story. They'll share just their product. And so rather than talking about, this is my life, this is why this is important, this is the difference that it's made in my life, this is how I use it daily, they'll just say something like, if they're selling, I don't know, if they're selling makeup, they'll just say, can't wait to put on my new such and such makeup line. It's like, that's not social, that's selling. And so, you really want to talk about, here's a for instance. One of my family members, she sells the eyelashes that they're like magic eyelashes. Have you heard of these?
Oh, like Unique?
Yeah, that's what it is. And so what she does...
I'm a girl. I love that stuff.
Okay, yeah. I've never used it, and for good reason, honestly. But, I'm not an emo kid. I'm not, sad all the time. If you're an emo kid and you're watching this, that's not a knock on you at all. But, like, she actually will put some on one eye, and then she'll go out, and she won't put any on the other eye. And so she'll have people ask her, like, what's going on here? And so that's her, in to be able to tell them about the product, and it's been working for her. For her, she could take a picture and just say with and without, and that's it. And people would kind of be like, or like, which do you think, which eye looks better or whatnot? And she could put that up there. She doesn't have to say, ask me how, or she doesn't have to say, I'm selling this product. All she has to do is just take a picture of her life and say, went out to the grocery store, got lots of people asking me questions today. Can you figure out why? And like, that's it. Rather than just saying, I'm selling this product now, come and get it,
Yeah.
Like, tell me how it's a part of your life. Tell me what kind of transformation. How does it play into your life every single day? So, I don't know, does that make sense to you?
Totally. I talk about this all the time with my clients and with my team. What's your why? Why are you doing what you're doing? And no matter what kind of business you have, if you are selling online ebooks, if you are selling scarves, if you're selling plants, I don't care what it is that you're selling. There's a reason why you're selling it. And if you're going to tell me that your reason is to make money, awesome. Lots of people are in business to make money, but you need to have a better story. So what's your authentic why? Are you doing it to help people? Are you doing it to save up money for your kids' college fund because you didn't get to go to school? Yeah. Are you saving up money to buy your first house? Do you want to take your wife to Tahiti? Awesome. I don't really care what your reason is, but I need to know that you have a reason besides, I just want to take your money. That's not going to convert anybody. You touched on a few really good things. I think authentic selling is really important. It's just as important as your why. Just like people do not want to be sold to, but people want to buy. So people are ready to take advantage of a product. People are ready to take care of or take advantage of something that you're passionate about. They are willing and ready to jump on a train if they can see that you're passionate about it, if that you believe in something, that it's changed your life. How has it impacted you? What are you doing with it? All that kind of stuff. I want to know your story. I want to know how this is authentic for you. If it's, I just bought this plant, I have no relationship to it, and I don't really care, but you should buy it. Like, who's going to do that? Who's going to do that? Whereas if you say, this bottle of frankincense oil saved my child from having 15 seizures a day down to 2 seizures a day, and we cut our medical bills in half. Oh my gosh, like, okay, I want to try it. I don't even have kids. Give me some. You know what I mean? You got to give them a story, absolutely. And you have to authentically sell. So the whole one eye mascara thing is freaking brilliant. I used to have somebody who would wear their name tag upside down in public, and people would be like, oh my gosh, your name tag's upside down. They'd be like, oh yeah, that's my cue to tell you, da 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 da, and that's how they would get their in. So again, like for me, because that's always my soapbox, is going back to relationship. You have to create the connection with someone, and your connection has to be based on wanting to help them or wanting to impact their life. Whatever your why is, base that relationship off of that, whether or not they're going to buy from you at that point. If you have a relationship, when they're, stuff hits the fan, they're going to come back to the person that they have a relationship with for help, and that's hopefully going to be you and not your competition.
Okay, so I've got something to say on that. Um, I I was thinking about it, and to me, it seems that if all you're trying to do is facilitate a transaction, or let me back that up. If you have a relationship, you can weather a storm. You can get through just about anything. But if all you're doing is just trying to close a transaction, you won't be able to get past a simple mistake. Like, you'll make a mistake and they'll move on. But when you have a relationship, you can get through much more than that. And so that's one of those things where, when you really think about it, you're like, okay, yes, I need to invest in this relationship because it's not a one-time transaction. And one-time transaction, I guess, unless you're selling $1 million product and all you have to do is sell one, you're going to need people to come back. Turnover is not turnover of relationship and turnover of customers is not something easy to recover from.
Yeah, exactly. I think me, if I have, 5 customers for life versus 5,000 customers for 30 seconds, I'd still rather have the 5.
Yeah.
Because no matter what I'm doing, no matter when my business changes, no matter, like, for example, I, in 2009, 10, 11, and 12, launched an art blog. I had 175,000 views a month, or 1,000 readers a month. It was huge. It was awesome. I don't do it anymore. I went through crazy personal relationship stuff, ended up closing down that blog. All of those people are still with me. Every single one of them. Well, maybe not every single one, but most of them are with me because they know who I am and because I have a relationship with them. Am I doing anything remotely like that now? No. I'm writing. I have 2 businesses that I run every single day and love completely what I do. But because of relationship, those people are there with me. It's all about quality of people, quality of relationships, not necessarily quantity. I mean, like you said, if you're selling an ebook and you're really only, wanting to not have a relationship with anybody, you're just wanting a quick sale, that's okay. But what's going to happen when someone needs help? What's going to happen when someone reads your expertise and then they go to your website? There's no way to contact you. There's no relationship there. There's no groundwork. You might leave them in the dust, and that's really unfortunate.
Yeah. Can I show you something?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to share my screen here real quick. Let's see. Right here, you said you don't typically take notes. I went ahead and I put some notes together. Can you see that?
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay. So right here at the very top, the most important thing that I was going after was this idea of be real and authentic. And I drilled down and I said use your own voice. Now, in a lot of conversations that I've been having, let me stop that there. And a lot of conversations that I've been having with, people on Twitter and people who, connect with build their social profiles up, they say that the number one thing that you need to do when you're on social media is be true to yourself and speak in your voice. Don't try to say what you think other people want you to say, but be who you are. Own yourself. And I think that takes time. Are there any tips that you have or that you can think of to give people to help them own their own voice, to help them kind of come into their own when talking on social media?
Yeah, absolutely. As a writer, and as a copywriter specifically, I have to change my voice every single time I write. So obviously you can imagine if I'm writing for McDonald's, I'm going to sound a certain way. If I'm writing for a funeral parlor, I'm going to sound a completely different way. If I'm writing for an elementary school, it's going to be totally different than both of those. So the voice is what makes you sound like you. And because I'm a copywriter, I have to change my voice to sound like my client. But you don't. You get to sound like you. And so if you are ever at this moment where you're like, oh my gosh, should I say this? This is how I normally say it, but maybe I should sound more professional, or maybe I should, just write it the way that you would normally write it. Don't overthink it. Be yourself. If you're going to pick a certain word, use that word. Don't change it. So if you're going to say, I want to make it better, not I want to ameliorate, don't say ameliorate if you never use that word. Say I'm going to make it better. Things like that. Don't try to sound more professional, more informal, more, in with it, more out, whatever. Be yourself, because people have a really good BS detector, and they will be able to tell if you are not being yourself, and then that will create a trust issue with your brand and your product. Nobody wants that either.
Yeah, absolutely. I was at a marketing seminar put on by Jeff Walker. He does this product launch formula thing. Really good stuff. Really, really helpful. And they brought out an actor that actually participates. He's one of Jeff's students, and he was in the show Heroes. Do you remember the show on NBC called Heroes?
Yeah, I remember it. Yep.
Yeah, I think they're bringing it back. Anyways, he was the puppet master, and so I think it was like season 1 or season 2. He would actually be able to control the hands of people. That was his skill. That was his ability. Anyways, he was there, and so he came out and he spoke to the entire group. I think it's like 1,000 people there, 1,400 people, and a lot of questions that came up were like people would raise their hand and ask questions like, I have a sibilanth issue. How do I get rid of my sibilanth? And he goes, don't. Like, there's plenty of reasons why you would want to get rid of that, just to, depending on the severity of it, like just
Right.
to function better in life. But he's like,
Right.
if your sole reason to get rid of it is because you want people to think better about you, he's like, don't get rid of it. He's like, that's part of who you are. If you want to get rid of it for other reasons, that's fine. But if you're trying to be on video presenting, your product or whatever, he's like, be who you are. And another person raised their hand and they said, how should I handle edits to my video? Like, how should I handle cuts? He goes, if you were talking to somebody in person, how would you handle it if you said the wrong word? He goes, you would recover and you would go right back into it. He goes, yeah, you need to be prepared when you're going on video and you're going to talk, but be yourself. Don't feel like you have to edit the heck out of something. Own your voice. Recover. Get back into it, because that's who you really are. You don't need to apologize for you being who you are. People brought up other things like, where should I angle the camera? He goes, there's best practices. Like, you want to have that camera right here. But in all honesty, you coming across as authentic, that's going to be much more important than any camera position. A camera position is not going to sell your product. What's going to sell your product is you.
Exactly.
So
because
that's
what
really
people are buying.
What's that?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, that gave me a lot of freedom to be myself, and even in the midst of, like, okay, you see I got this whiteboard right here. What you can't see, I mean, I've got a whole bunch of, like, lights. Hang on, let me show you. I've got, like, this entire, like, light kit. Can you see this?
Yeah, totally.
I've got a light kit and everything, and I've been trying to make these videos, and the more I go through them, the more that I make them, the more I find I'm not good at pretending to be somebody else. I like the videos. When I get done, I like the videos that are authentically me. I have a couple bullet points, and then I just get to talk. Those are the ones that I connect with when I'm watching myself, and I think those are the ones that people connect with the most too, not the ones that have zero mistakes, but the ones that, have me fumbling over my words and saying, that's not what I meant to say. This is what I meant to say.
Yeah, and I think that's why this whole thing goes over really well. I mean, you and I film these live. I have to be careful not to say the shit hits the fan. I mean, that's what happens. We're live, right? I mean, people like watching you act when you're not edited. They like watching you be yourself, interact with your environment. They like watching you be human. The best business, the best relationships are human.
Yeah.
That's really what we crave as the human race. We want humanity. We want connection. We want relationship. We want touch. And so if you can apply those things in your business, in your selling proposition, which sounds so markety, but it's really what, when you're selling to somebody, if you can make that feel human, if you can make that feel like a connection, you're going to do so much better without sounding like a cheeseball, without feeling disgusting, like, I don't like the way that this feels, and this is gross, and I feel slimy, and I'm trying to sell you something, I don't like it. And I think if you can have a relationship with somebody, if you can have that connection with them, if you can make it feel human, it's going to be so much better for both of you, because people aren't going to buy your product, they're buying you. And if you can get them to buy you, they'll buy whatever you put out. They're not just going to buy, product A, product B, product C, only one of them. They're going to buy that, all three of them, and they're going to ask you, okay, well, what's coming next, and when can I get it? And how are you doing with this? And tell me more about this. And they're going to want to know more about you. They want the whole picture. Create that relationship and that connection for them, because ideally, they're going to buy you. They're not going to buy your product.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a perfect segue into another thing that I wrote down. So I wrote it down here, and it says, be focused and consistent in the type of content you post. And so, getting your thoughts would be great, but when I wrote that down, the thing that I was thinking was, essentially you want to become an authority for whatever it is that you're trying to sell. And become an authority doesn't mean continually trying to sell something. It means showing that you have knowledge, showing that you understand the lifestyle, showing that you understand how to apply certain things. And so I'll give you an example using my life, and it's something that I've never ever tried to sell. It just kind of happens. My friends and my family, they look at me and the people on Facebook. You would probably be surprised at how many Facebook messages I get a week saying, "Hey, I'm trying to do this with technology. I'm trying to do this with, my DVD player, or trying to fix my computer. I'm trying to get this to work. Do you know how to do it?" I probably get 3 or 4 messages every single week asking for help with technology. Now, I don't go out there saying, buy my ebook on how to set up, your Macintosh computer. Just through the course of my posts and the things that interest me, Justin Wise calls it, when he's posting on social, he has different buckets that he pulls from, and he has like 5 buckets, like the entrepreneur bucket, the church bucket, the social media bucket, the the beer bucket, and like one other. And those are the 5 buckets that he pulls from. So one of the buckets that makes its way onto my social media is technology. I don't ever try to sell. I just say what my thoughts are on things, and people come to me asking for my opinion on certain things because they look at me as an authority, and that's because I'm consistent and focused in the type of content that I post. I don't just post willy-nilly. So what are your thoughts on that idea of being consistent and focused?
I think for me as a writer, obviously content is huge. I think as far as selling goes, I think it's important to be human. It's important to make your whole feed not the same thing. So whether we're talking Facebook, we're talking what comes out of your mouth in person. You know what it's like. I'll give you a scenario. You know what it's like to go to dinner. You get invited to dinner with this guy, and this guy's the guy that always tries to sell you the newest health and wellness supplement. And going into dinner with your wife, Sandra, oh my God, Sandra, we're going to dinner, and Mark is coming, and Mark is going to sit at this table, and I know that he's going to try to get me to drink this juice, and it's fruit juice, and I don't want the fruit juice, and it's going to be something else this time. You have those moments. Don't be that guy. Don't be the guy that's only always about the juice or only always about the blah, 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 whatever it is. Nobody likes that. Show me who you are. Okay, yeah, that's a part of you. What do you do on Saturday morning? What do you do on Sunday morning? What do you do when you're not doing that? If I can have a relationship with you, or the idea of you, hopefully it's actually you, the relationship that I have with you and what you do outside of your, work or your whatever product you're selling, it's going to make it so much easier to make an authentic sale. So keep your content consistent, keep it moving. If I check your page and then I check it a month later and there's still the same stuff on it, yikes. I'm not a big fan of static websites, saying that. That's why, if you go look at my website, which is linked, it's static, but the blog isn't. We have new content 5 times a week on purpose. Because I want people to be able to have new information there, new content there. Are we always pushing for a hard sell? No, in fact, rarely. We're giving people tips on how to do things. We're showing that we're helpful. We're creating new content every single day, and not all of it is a hard sell, and that's on purpose. None of it's really a hard sell. People need to fall in love with you and your business, not just your business.
So here's a thought on that. When you say people need to fall in love with you, not just your business. I'm a part of an online community. It's a paid online community, and there's a lot of people in there who are bloggers, writers, and they're looking to increase readership and all sorts of stuff associated with that. And a giant question that keeps getting asked over and over and over and over again is, when you're making a Twitter handle or Instagram or whatever, should I make my company name or should I make my personal name? And there's a lot of disagreement, but I'm just going to say I know what the right answer is. And the right answer is, unless you're already an established business with an established clientele, which these people are not, the right answer is to make one for yourself. If you're going to get into that space, if you understand the space, if you're going to be going into business, you need to make your name your social media presence. And the reason for that is because people will connect with you long before they ever connect with your business. They will connect with your name and with your face long before they connect with an LLC or logo. And so people come from the other direction and they say, things like, oh, you need to be setting your business up to be sold, and you don't want it to be attached to your personality. And it's like, well, yeah, maybe down the road, and you need to make that transition, and that transition needs to be, strategic. But at the beginning, people are buying me. Most people probably don't even know that I have a business called Shrine Media LLC. People are calling Dave Shrine. People are giving Dave Shrine, references. They're not giving Shrine Media references. So that's a big thing that I think a lot of people go after over and over again and keep rehashing the same conversation. And like, I'm just gonna say, like, people who say you need to do your business name, like, you're wrong. You're wrong.
Yeah.
Like 99% of the time, you're wrong. And I don't care, how you try to back that up with, all sorts of business stuff. This is social, so you're wrong.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think, I actually have a post on this from like July or August this year, I think, because somebody asked me the same question on Twitter, so I just screen capped it, stuck it on the blog, and I think going back to the same thing, people need to know who you are. I want to know who you are when you're not selling something. I want to know who you are when you're not pushing your business at me, because it's so important. So that's why on purpose, like today, my whole feed on Twitter, nothing business related. It was all about gratitude, and it's not just because it's Thanksgiving in 2 days. I always share what I'm doing. So I'll take pictures of my breakfast and put it on Twitter. I'll take pictures of, yoga or, other things that I gardening, whatever I'm doing. I take pictures of things that I love, or hey, I'm here not writing, or taking a break from client work, whatever. People need to know who you are. That goes hand in hand with picking a username. I get asked that all the time, totally backing you up 1,000%. You have to be you. You have to be you, because no one's going to have a relationship. If I was House of Bliss on Twitter in April, people would be like, who the heck is that? I don't know what you are. I don't know what you do. I've never heard of you. Why would I follow you? This is like, oh, it's just another spammer, and there we go. But when they see me and it's my name, and they look at my feed, and my feed's not full of the same tweet 5,000 times, like, oh, who is this girl? She tweets about mac and cheese, and then she tweets about funky dates, and then she tweets about writing. Like, what? I have to know more. Be exciting. People want you to be exciting. They want your business to be exciting. Don't be boring. Boring's gross. Quote me.
Absolutely. Boring is definitely gross. Okay, so you said something about, gratitude. So let me show you again. I like using the screen share function, so I'm going to keep doing it. But one of the things that I wrote down, now I'll say real quick because I want to get to the thing that you referenced, but this be temporary with right hooks. And so right now I'm going through like a product launch, and so I'm doing a whole lot more right hooks. Gary Vaynerchuk calls them jab, 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 right hooks. Give, right hook, and the right hook is the ask. And so be temporary with right hooks, so when you do have something to ask people to do, you can only do it in temporary spurts. And I'm still trying to figure this out, but I've figured at least that much out. And then another thing here is be generous. You said, you're being very thankful this week. Be generous is another one when it comes to, building your online profile, and when it comes to, setting yourself up to succeed in selling. Now, I'm not going to pat myself on the back. I'm just going to share an example. One thing that I do that's an easy win for me. It does cost me money, but if I'm going to be generous, don't I want to be generous with every part of my life and not just certain parts? That's what makes you a generous person. And so, so I'm generous with my money. And one thing that I do is if I see somebody online through Twitter, and they're talking about trying to make a change in their life, trying to start a new website, or trying to do something. Let's see, is there 3 or 4? There's 4 books that I continually send out. I've probably spent $300 this year on sending out books. There's Start by John Acuff, Quitter by John Acuff, Platform by Michael Hyatt, and Launch by Jeff Walker.
4 amazing books. Amazing books.
They're absolutely fantastic. And so sometimes people just need a win. And when you feel like you've just got the world coming up against you, you're tight on money, you're tight on time, whatever the case might be, you're short on ideas, you're short on resources, whatever. Sometimes you just need a win. And so I look at that as a very real way that I can offer something of great value and tangible. The only thing that I ask of someone is I say, DM me, I have something for you. And then I just say, hey, I want to send you these books, no strings attached. all I'm asking is that you commit to read them when you get them. That's all I'm asking. And then they say, yeah, I'll read them when I get them. And so so that's just one way that I've been generous. But generosity across the board, I mean, you can't go wrong with it. You got to be generous with people, because that's really where they're going to know that you truly do care. Like there is a bone in your body that actually cares about them and their success.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think both of us. I won't speak for you because I'm sure that you have a different story. I mean, similar but different. I don't know where I would be without people helping. When I got started, I literally scoured the internet. Okay, for how do I do this, and how do I set up an LLC, and how do I, what do I do with business taxes, and all of this stuff. I had people give me advice. I had my network that I carried over from an art blog that had been dormant for a year. Creating that community, if they fall in love with you, they're going to follow you, and that relationship should go both ways. You should be helping them, you should be serving them, whether or not you're selling something. You should be having a relationship and providing them value. But that also goes both ways. You can't always give. I use a gas tank metaphor. So if you exhaust your gas tank, you can't go anywhere. Yep. You have to be able to be fed as well, to have other people or other things, activities, self-care, whatever, fill your gas tank so you can give to people. So that's really, really important. I talk about burnout a lot. It's incredibly important. One of the ways to fill your own gas tank is through gratitude. So every single morning, I write in this journal. I'm almost done. I write gratitudes, and I write for about 45 minutes. As simple as, thank you for the water that's on my desk. Thank you for my desk. Thank you that I have socks on, that I'm in pajamas, whatever. Simple stuff. But just maintaining that mindset and that framework of gratitude for every single day really sets me up for success, and it helps me be able to be more generous with everybody across the board. Just last week I had somebody, we were talking about pages, my opt-in. If you sign up as a VIP, you get a free copy of my About Pages list guide. And this girl got it.
Which, FYI, all your stuff like that, it's all really, really good. So if people are looking to do, I know you're not trying to like sell your stuff. I know what we're doing here, but just an FYI, I've done it. I've paid for it. You don't give it to me. I've paid for some of your stuff, and it's really good. So keep going.
Thank you. That's so sweet. Yeah. So she was having a problem, or she was struggling really with. She was halfway through this bliss guide, and her name is Jenna. She's amazing, and she tweets me, and she's like, girl, I love this. I'm about halfway through it. And I said, okay, link me to what you have. And she linked me, and I said, hey, why don't you copy and paste this and put it in a Google Doc, and I'll edit it right with you. So I got in the Google Doc with her, helped her out with her, like on the spot right there, which I don't usually do. But I was led to do it. I felt like I should do it. So I got right in Google Doc, edited it with her. Oh, my God, it totally made her day, and it took me 10 minutes, not even, and it was so great to just be able to help her out, to be where she's at, to help her right in her moment, and be able to be that champion with her, and to help her make the next step, take the next thing, and just own it. I think if you can be that person for someone, not only will it help you feel a lot better, it's going to help them, and it's going to impact their journey, just like I have people that I can look back in mind and be like, yeah, that person did this and it changed my trajectory, and where I am today because of this person.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, absolutely. I wrote something on my blog yesterday. There's a guy on Twitter. His name's Jonathan Milligan, and he's just one of these guys. We've connected a couple times via Skype. We've connected more often through Twitter, and he's also a part of that online community that I was telling you about. But his whole tagline is the blogger who helps people, and he truly is. I was blown away because he wrote an article about masterminds, and immediately after he wrote the article about masterminds, I contacted him because I'd been thinking about what does a mastermind look like for me, and he came back with, this guy has 60,000 followers on Twitter, and it's not a passive 60,000. He really helps people, and immediately he came back with, hey, let's just do a Skype. I'd like to hear more of your story, and so we talked, and he just shared with me, free stuff. He has a course. I bought the course. He gave me the stuff for free, but I still bought the course because I wanted to pick his brain a little bit more, and I knew that was one way. But that just meant a lot to me that he would give me an hour of his time via Skype when I know that maybe he makes $500 an hour. I don't know. That was a $500 face to face. So that generosity, it goes a long way. I wrote some copy for a client, and the way we worded, he's not the cheapest in town, but he's the best in town. And so the way that we worded, he's a mechanic, and we worded it, and we say, this is how we do our pricing. We respect our customers, and we also respect our work. Our prices reflect both of that. We respect your finances, and we also respect the work that we do. And we do everything we can to make sure what we charge you reflects that respect. And so I think that's just a good way of saying, like, yeah, you got to charge, but you can also be generous. You can also, do. Andy Stanley says this. He says, "Do for one that which you wish you could do for many." Right? Like you can't do a spreadsheet, rundown with everybody, but you can do it for one person. So why not? So another thing that I wrote down here, and I'm going to use my handy dandy screen share. Woo! Hooray for technology. Another thing that I wrote down here was provide value when you're not selling. And I think that's really, really key. I love what Buffer does. We've talked about Buffer before. Both of us have the shirts. We should coordinate when we're each going to wear the shirt because they're awesome. But
we need to.
But Buffer, they will send out, like 19 tools to help you be more efficient in scheduling social media. Yeah, they'll mention their tool because that's what they do, but they'll mention 18 of their competitors because they know that their tool might not be right for everybody. And more than that, they want to be helpful. They want to provide value to their people. So yeah, they're like soft selling theirs, but really, honestly, like if anybody else was creating that same guide, they'd put Buffer in it. So Buffer puts themselves in it. But they also put value out that doesn't directly benefit them. It will down the road, but it doesn't directly benefit them. What do you have to say about providing value when you're not selling?
I think, going off the Buffer thing, I think it's huge for them that they put themselves in it, not only because they're transparent, but because they believe in their product.
Yeah.
You're gonna slate somebody that's already in your audience with yourself and 19 or 18 other people that are your competitors, knowing that you can stand with them, you can provide amazing service, and you're worth it. I think so many clients that I've worked with have this kind of worth complex. You're like, oh my God, like, should I charge this much? Should I not charge this much? I don't know if I can deliver. Am I worth it? And they have like this, they get all constipated because they don't know what they're doing. And it's like, okay, I want you to love you as much as your future client will love you. And so if you have to sit down and pull a John Acuff and write yourself fan mail from 6 months from now, cool. You can write it. Hi, Dave. I'm so proud of your product. This totally changed my life. You're freaking awesome. I can't believe you did this. When's your next one coming out? Love your favorite customer. Dated 6 months in the future. Awesome. Cool. Whatever you have to do to rev your engine up, do it. Love your product. Love it, love it, love it. Believe in it. Know that it can work, so much so that it's okay if it's not marketed to everybody. I talk about target marketing all the time. If you're marketing to everyone, you're doing it wrong. So don't expect that everyone's going to love your product, just like everyone you go on a date with is not going to be perfect for you. You can still have a good time. You can still create a relationship. You can still have fun. Just know that not everybody's going to love you, and that's okay. You got to love yourself first.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's crazy because if we look at my handy dandy sketch here, I literally wrote down, be in love with what you sell. If you don't love what you sell, if you're not in love with it, if you don't bleed it, like, it's going to show. It's going to come through, and people are going to sense that. But if you're in love with what you sell, you actually won't have to sell it. Like, you won't have to make intention to sell it. It sells itself. You sell yourself if you absolutely love what you sell. Okay, here's another one right here. I wrote down, respect the platform, write for it. Now, this is something that I'm absolutely huge on. Like, you'll hear me talk about this anytime I have an opportunity. I will talk about this, but drives me nuts. And if any of my clients watch this, I love you so much, and that's why I'm working with you, because we are going to get through this together. But a lot of times people will tell me with great pride that they figured out how to connect their Facebook and their Twitter accounts together, and so when they send out to Facebook, it also goes to Twitter or vice versa. And so I have to very gently and graciously say, hey, you know what? Like, let's rethink that. Because here's the reality. Twitter users are much different than Facebook users. Twitter platform is much different than Facebook platform. If you want to sell, if you want to be involved in one of these platforms, and this is compounded the importance. If you also want to sell on those platforms, be involved and then sell, you have got to respect the platform that you're in. It would be like putting out a tweet on Facebook would be the equivalent of walking into, the Telemundo, television station and saying, hey, I'd like to do my show in English. It's like, no, that's not the language people speak, so don't be foolish and go on there and start speaking in English when the audience is Spanish. Like, don't do that. Just don't do it. And so, so if you are going to sell online, if you're going to tell your story online, if you're going to share your passion for your product and the way that it's changed your life, if you're going to do that, write for the platform, write for the audience, know who your audience is, and write for them. Craft the information to shine in 140 characters, or craft the information to show up and shine in a news feed where BuzzFeed is above you and Cats Playing Pianos is below you. So you got to write for the platform. You can't just write generic. You can't just auto post. Can't just auto tweet. You've got to make it all about the people on that platform.
Yeah, people are different. Just like you wouldn't take, every single girl that you're with to a steakhouse. Okay, I don't even eat beef, so if you take me to a steakhouse, automatically a big red flag for you. Like you can't take vegans to a steak. You can't invite vegans over for steak. You got to know who you're talking to. You got to know who you're dealing with, because otherwise you just sound like this, blaring speaker that people are like, oh my god, who's gonna turn that off? Like silence it, mute it from my feed, and then guess what? Not only have you ruined that relationship or potential relationship, you've made them annoyed with you, and now they have a bad taste in their mouth. You know how much harder that is to get out of their head than having even a neutral reaction? It's so much more difficult. I mean, I understand that a lot of people say bad press is press. I don't really like it. I like to be able to just market to the people that I love and that are for me and for my business. It's not everybody, and it's not going to be everybody for your business either. Don't try to market to everybody. I say all the time, if your target market is everyone, you're doing it wrong. You've got to know who you're writing for, who you're selling to, and where they're hanging out. You might have a completely different demographic on Facebook than you do on Instagram, or on Instagram than you do on Twitter, or on, through your email opt-in list. You have to know, and yeah, you're right, it's a lot of work. I can feel your brains like, oh my god, I'm melting. It's true. It's so much work. It is so much work. But you know what? That is the relationship aspect of it. They take work, you guys, and you have to put it in to be able to create something that's sustainable. They take work. So you got to know the nuances of your Facebook. You got to know the nuances of your Twitter list. You got to know the nuances of your email. You have to know your nuances between your clients and your email. Every sort of little arena, yeah, they have similarities. Sure, they should all be, ideally, your demographic. You're going to have ones that are like I have one client who totally doesn't fit my demographic at all. Is he still a client? Yes. Do we work together all the time? Absolutely. But he's the odd one out. So when I write my emails for him, or my emails for the group that he's in, I don't write them for him. I write them for the demographic. You have to know who you're talking to. So, so, so important.
Yep. Absolutely, you got to know your audience, and again, that's one of the reasons why I wanted, going back to Jonathan Milligan, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to find a mastermind, is because a lot of time we can see these things for other people, but when it comes to us, it becomes really difficult to see them for ourselves, and so it's important not to make, your strategies in a silo. And we're all guilty of it. I'm guilty of it. But it's important to bring other people's into that conversation. Now, here's one that I am glad that I heard other people share with me, and it's one that is very, very true. And it's this bottom one right here. It says, "Don't be offended when people leave you." And I remember when I first started my newsletter, my email list, and if you're not doing a email newsletter list like you need to, and Charissa has she has a program talking all about that, so if that's completely foreign to you, I went through it, it's great. But if you don't have an email newsletter list, like, you need to have one. I know that that's not social, but it's connected, and you see how it's connected. But essentially, I would watch my Twitter follower count, or I would watch my Facebook fan page like count, or I would watch my newsletter sign up count. And anytime somebody unsubscribed or unfollowed, like, it would make me mad. Like, I would just get upset. Like, it felt like a rejection of me. Like, why are you doing that? I'm posting good stuff. You should go tell other people to follow me. You shouldn't be unfollowing me. And it started to like get me upset, but I heard someone say you should be glad every time somebody unsubscribes from your list. And the reason is because your list becomes better and better and better. It becomes cleaner and cleaner. It doesn't matter if somebody's a part of your list if they're never going to read your email and they're never going to look at the content that you send. You want people who you can truly help. And if you love your product, even if you have to sell it, like you believe that your product will help them, and you only want that to go to people who could help. I mean, I'm not gonna bring someone in here, set them down behind me, and say like, all right, here, I'm gonna help you, and they're into fishing. I don't fish, so like it just doesn't make any sense. Why would I care if a fisherman's on my newsletter list when I'm talking about how to communicate more effectively in front of a large audience? Like, just doesn't make sense. So don't be offended when people leave you, and haters are gonna hate. And honestly, like, can I? I know that I'm talking a lot, but can I share like a hater story?
Do it, yes, please. Okay. I love these.
So fortunately, I haven't had to deal with it too much. But when I started my podcast, when the World Cup was going on, I started my podcast, and I don't like soccer. I mean, if you do, great. I don't. And so I said something in the podcast, the intro. I said something along the lines of like, yeah, so I guess the World Cup is happening. # who cares? I guess if you like the World Cup, you can enjoy it. I guess this is your Super Bowl every 4 years, but for me, I'm gonna stick with a real sport. I said something like that, and then I knew that it could be offensively, but it was my podcast audience, and if it was a brand new listener, I could see where it'd be offensive. But I had several episodes, so hopefully they understood my sarcastic sense of humor. Well, I got an email from a guy, and all it said was, "Hey, you shouldn't bash your audience in front of them, in front of the world. You shouldn't bash each other. Some people actually like soccer, and it's just a communication thing. And the whole podcast is about communication." So he was insulting me, and I got that. That was the first, kind of like hater mail that I had ever gotten. And so, I really started to think about it. And I was like, man, I really. This isn't who I am. I shouldn't be hating on people. So I sent an email back to him. I just said, hey, I apologize. And he had the World Cup logo as his Facebook profile. So it was like major whatever. I'd never heard from him before that day. I've never heard from him since. Haters are going to hate. Just be yourself. Don't apologize for being yourself. Be decent to people. But I don't care if that guy follows me. You know why? Because he's never going to be my target audience. He's always going to be looking for some way to hate on me, and it just proves that I'm making an impact somewhere. So
yeah, it's so I love hate mail. I really do, and that's not an invitation for any of you to send me hate mail. But I really, really freaking love it, and here's why. I love unsubscribes. I love unfollows. Like, do I like them as much as follows? No, but do I like them? Yes. And here's why. It means that my marketing is working. I'm not for everyone, and I know that. Just like I'm not going to, eat at a steak restaurant. I don't like steak, so I'm not for everybody. And you have to know what your preferences are. You have to know that you're worth it, that you're special. You have to know that not everyone's going to like you, and that's okay. Not everyone's supposed to like you. And is that going to crush a little bit of an ego? Yeah. But is it worth it? Yeah. I think knowing that that you can provide 100% of yourself or of your business to a specific crowd is awesome. Leave it at that crowd. Don't try to be all things to all people. I know we have a lot of people from the church communities watching. That I will equate this because my dad's a pastor, so I grew up in church. I will equate this to a worship service where you have a hymn, and then you have something by, Matt Redman, and then you have something that's in, you can't even understand it because it's in, like ridiculous old English, and then you have something that is from Hillsong, all in the same service, and your entire sanctuary is full of people going, what the hell is this? Like, you cannot be all things to all people because then you're going to be 10% of what you could be for so many people. You're going to spread yourself so thin, and that's like, it's not good because you're not only are going to burn out, you're not going to have an audience, and people are going to have a trust issue. Like, oh, well, he's trying to be this here with me, and he says he's really into contemporary, but then he's trying to be this here to other people, and he's really old school there, and I don't know, like, you have to own your brand, you have to own your message, and you have to be all things to all people. So when I get hate mail or when I get angry comments or unsubscribes, or people will unsubscribe from my mailing list, which it doesn't have. I mean, I maybe get like 2 a month, but I'll have people that will unsubscribe. So if I have chance, I'll email them. If they've been on for a long time, I email them and say, hey, I saw that you unsubscribed. If it was an accident, let me know. I can re-add you, no problem. If it wasn't an accident, let me know if there's anything I can do for you. If it's just time to part ways, totally get it. And so, I kind of let them off the hook a little bit. And I've had people reply, and they're like, yeah, I closed my business, or, but I wish you all the best, or I don't like your tips, or this is really geared towards small businesses, and I'm not small. I'm like, okay, great. Thank you for letting me know. Like, I'm not meant to be all things to all people, and neither are you. So don't try to be burning out. And no one likes that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I tweeted out, all things to all people, you'll only be 10% of what people need.
Yeah, it's like you're spreading the frosting on your cake way too thin. I don't know about you, but I like a little cake with my frosting. I'm a frosting girl. So I want, I don't want to be spread thin. I don't want to have like this nasty taste in my mouth when I'm like, oh, like you're not even totally who you are when I'm with you. It's like when you see somebody that you're friends with and then you get around their family and there's someone totally different. You're like, which one are you? That creates a trust issue. I want to be the same thing with all people, which on the other side of that for your customers, they're looking at you being like, wow, like you're really always about communication. You're really, Chrissy, you're really always about relationship. Yeah, and you know what? I'm not going to change because that's my thing and I love it. So if that's not exciting to you, don't watch the rest of this because that's going to be my thing for forever. If I make you mad, that's okay. I'm not for you. And you have to love yourself enough. You have to be okay enough that people are going to leave. You're not going to have a breakdown. Does it suck sometimes? Yeah. Do I read hate mail and feel discouraged sometimes? Yeah, everybody does. But after I get discouraged, I laugh because I know what I'm doing is working. And frankly, I love what I do. I love who I am. And I don't need them to approve of what I'm doing to keep doing it. So there you go. That's my thoughts, Dave.
Totally. It's like heart
Boom.
Exposed for everyone to see.
Yeah, like, I don't know. You got to love yourself. You got to love yourself. You got to love your business. You got to believe in yourself. Not so much that believe in it huge and then temper it when you're sharing. I don't want to only ever hear about it. But another thing that you touched on is your authentic passion. I just told this to someone on my team today. What you do when you're procrastinating, you got to pay attention to that because that's where your genius is. That's what you're supposed to be doing. So like I would procrastinate at my old job, which Kim, my old boss, if you're watching this, you know that I did this. I would procrastinate and write all the time. Like not write for my business. Like I wouldn't write for where I worked. I'd write for copy for imaginary clients, or I'd write for myself, or I'd write blog posts or whatever. And I procrastinate and I'd write, and I had this light bulb moment one day in my office at my old job, and I was like, well, shoot, like maybe I should just do this. Fast forward to now, guess what I get to do every single day? Pay attention to what you're doing when you're procrastinating. That's your genius. Boom. If I had a mic, I would drop it.
Right. I had something. Oh, can I share something? Can I share something that I wrote that I'm proud of and that I think might be helpful for kind of coming off what you're talking about? So on my blog, the reason why Jonathan is on my mind is because I just recently wrote a piece for him. But I said, let me just make sure that I'm getting into it. Yeah. When you're a dreamer, pursuing your dreams can be lonely because dreaming is dangerous. Dreaming leads you to do crazy things like quit your job, turn down promotions, sell your house, try and write a book, all sorts of goofy stuff. Unfortunately, too many have been spurned by dreams not becoming reality and thus give up on dreaming altogether. And so just this idea of there's going to be hurt, there's going to be disappointment, there's going to be missed opportunities, there's going to be people who leave you, there's going to be people who hate on you, there's going to be people who get tired of your message, there's going to be all these things. Dreaming's dangerous. When you have something that you love, when you have a product that you're passionate about, it's going to be very dangerous for you to put that out there to the world. And you're going to expose yourself, and you're going to kind of make yourself vulnerable when you're really passionate about something. But just know that like dreaming is worth it. Like I'm not in the NBA, not because I'm not, 6'10" and I'm from Phoenix, suburbia. I'm not in the NBA because for the reason like I never felt like I could be in the NBA. I wanted to do that when I was 11, 12, 13, 14 years old. I wanted to play in the NBA, but everyone always told me like you're too short, you're not coordinated enough, you're too white, all these different things, and it's just like okay, then I'm not going to dream. And so that's why I'm not in the NBA. I mean, there's a whole group of other reasons why I wouldn't have made it had I really pursued that dream, but that's ultimately right now the reason why I'm not living that dream. And, I'm not, I love politics. I don't ever talk about them because I think there are much more important things than politics, and I'm not willing to sacrifice my influence for the sake of a political election. But I really like politics. I'm not the president, and and I'm not going to ever be president, and that's because a long time ago, people said that's too lofty of a dream. You shouldn't do that. You should have a backup plan. So dreaming's dangerous, and when you put your product out there online, it's a dangerous thing, but it's totally worth it. It's totally worth it when you really feel passionate about something.
Totally. I would vote for you if you ran for president.
Oh, that's so sweet. And you don't even know what my politics are.
No, I would just vote for you because I like you and because I know who you are and because we have a relationship and because I think you're awesome. But besides voting for you, I think, you touched on some really good stuff. It's so scary, you guys. It's so scary to be in business online. It's so scary to be in business. It's so scary to be that person that other people depend on for income. It's so scary to I mean, whether that's for yourself or for your husband, your wife, your family, even if it's just you, it's scary. Like, I'm not married, I don't have kids, and sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, like, what am I doing? You still will have those moments. You still will have them, and it is scary. And for those of us that are creatives, which is probably the majority of people watching, but when you're creative, you know that you have a dream, and you feed it every night, and it wakes you up, and you rock it back to sleep. You spend so much time in it and so much energy, and then it's like a kid. You open the doors, and your business doors are open. People are looking at what you spent time creating, and it is scary. It is so scary. And then you have someone that's like, oh, P.S., I don't like this, or no, I'm not interested. Even if they're totally tactful about it, even if they're totally, your target market, they're just not interested, or they don't have the money, or it's not right for them right then. Whatever their reason is, you're right, it's scary, and sometimes it does hurt, and it's gonna happen. I wish I could, be the mama bear that saves you and tells you you're gonna be fine. You will be fine, but it's gonna happen, and it's inevitable. And so my whole thing right now is that rupture creates birth. So you're having that moment of rupture. You're having that moment where, you've worked so freaking hard on something and you only sold a single copy. Or you have a product that you've developed and you spent so much time in research and development and no one's buying it. Or you can't get a backer. Or, oh my gosh, my business is failing and I've only been around for 6 months and I love what I do, but I don't know if it's feasible. That is a moment of rupture, and out of rupture comes birth. That's the moment where you pull yourself up and you say, you know what, I believe in myself. I believe in my product. I believe that people need this. I'm passionate about it. I'm going to keep going. And amazing things can come out of rupture. You just have to look at it, from a place of compassion instead of from a place of, you'll never do that. You'll never be that person. You can never do this. Because obviously, looking at Dave, it will change the trajectory of your life. Really, what you're told, what you tell yourself, whether that's from your own head or from someone else, what you're told really impacts what you do with your life. So I'm all about making sure that you believe in yourself, that you love yourself, because it will make business easier, it will make selling easier, it will make people that unfollow you easier. It makes the whole thing easier. You got to believe in yourself first.
Yeah, absolutely. So just a couple tactical tips since we're done here, or since we're wrapping up. We're not done, but we're wrapping up. A couple tactical tips. If you are going to be selling, a product online. So right now I'm thinking you people, that sounds so bad. Because you're one of those you peoples, but for the people who are selling things like Arbonne or Amway, or selling things like the essential oils, selling things like Advocare, things like that. posting pictures of your products, that's really not going to be a win for you. There might be some strategic placement for a strategic time when that will be a win, but things that are going to be a win for you are real-life pictures that you take with your smartphone of you doing things that are as a result of whatever the product is that you're using. So let's say that you're Advocare and you're doing the Spark drink. Taking a picture of the Spark drink, that's not going to get you the results that you want. However, taking a picture of what you were able to accomplish as a result of having that Spark drink available, like, I'm tired, but I accomplished this run, and then you build your authority and you build consistency into what you're able to accomplish as a result of it. I think that's going to be a win for you. If you sell fitness type stuff, again, real life photos, befores and afters. Don't say in your post, hey, I'm doing this, I'm selling this product, here's my before and after. Just put the before and after there. Say something like, I've never felt better in my entire life, or say something like, this is a huge accomplishment for me. I've given this everything that I've had for the last 3 months. I can't believe that I'm actually here. That's going to connect with people far more than I lost 30 pounds and it's all because of whatever the thing is. Like, that won't connect with people. See that and they automatically put it in the category of sales. And so there's a time and a place for that sort of stuff. So don't hear me say that you can't ever do this. But I'm talking to the person right now who is just looking to make $1,000, $2,000 on the side by selling whatever product it is that you actually use. You want to have real life, real posts that are really about who you are. You don't want to give credit to a product. You want to give credit to who you are. And out of that, when you finally, if you push 15 posts about who you are and how proud you are of an accomplishment or how proud you are of somebody for their accomplishment, and then you pitch one about, man, I've been posting a lot about my accomplishments. Part of the reason is because of Advocare. If you're interested, let me know. That's a really tough sell, and that will just kind of put in the back mind, hey, this person does Advocare, this is what it makes. So that's a really practical way. Charissa, can you just give me one practical thing that people could walk away with when they're trying to sell on social that would be best practice?
Besides authenticity, which you hit the nail on the head there, know what the needs of your target market is. So, or are, I guess, if there's more than one. Focus on one at a time. The reason why Wonder Bread.
Really want to tell you about this product.
The reason with an R why Wonder Bread succeeded is because, so background here, Wonder Bread is they were the first company to sell sliced white bread. The reason why they succeeded is because they sold it that it would save you time in the kitchen. Not that it was sliced, not that it was new. Same product, same bread, it was sliced. They sold it that it saved time because moms were having to make sandwiches in the morning. It was taking them freaking forever. If you've ever tried to cut a hot loaf of bread with a knife, it doesn't work. So they were selling it, hey, it's already sold.
Looks like we just lost Charissa there for a second. Hang in there. When she comes back,
really, you gotta know.
Hey, time out. We lost you. And I know that what you're saying is going to be so good. So you said, where you cut out, you said, it's the same product, it's the same thing, but if you've ever cut, hot bread with a knife, you know what I'm talking about. That's where I lost you. Pick up from there.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, if you ever cut hot bread with a knife, it doesn't work. And so Wonder Bread sold their product because it saved time. They marketed the time saving, not the bread, not the product. They knew that moms had a problem getting their kids out the door in the morning. So they said, hey, you can get your kids out faster, have your peace of mind, and everything's going to go smoother, which is what your problem is, with this product. How they marketed it. It was amazing. Brilliant.
It's awesome. Charissa,
Brilliant.
This is so fun. So glad we do this. It's awesome to get to hang out with you every other week, and I'm excited for the next one.
Yeah, I'm stoked. We have some good topics coming up. P.S. If you're watching this and it's the recording, or if you're watching this late, like a couple hours from now, you can still use the hashtag because Dave and I track it all throughout the week. It's right here, hashtag DACTalk. And leave us questions, leave us comments. If you guys have something specific that you want us to talk about, let us know. We're always here for you. We're ready to chat.
Absolutely. That's what this whole thing is about. It's about is about sharing successes, sharing failures, shooting the breeze, water cooler talk, and allowing you to be a fly on the wall with what we do for our businesses. And we don't have everything figured out, but we're trying real hard, and we'll share with you the things that we do figure out. So, hey, let's just call it a night. I think it's about that time.
Think so.
All
Bye,
right.
guys. Thanks for stopping by.
Bye, guys. We're turning off the lights. See you next time.